Hello, students and educators. We are so excited to have you join us for Career Exposure Week. My name is Chelsea Hunt. I am the Executive Director of Work-Based Learning and Industry Engagement at the State Department, and I will be your moderator for this session. We will hear from our guest speaker, Jeanine Coleman, Director of Human Resources at Pelco Structural, and then we will have a Q&A session that I will help field any questions to Jeanine. This session will be recorded and will be housed within the 2020 Oklahoma Career Exposure Week online module. Also, we will send out links to the recorded sessions to everyone who registered and via our agency newsletters. Please join me in welcoming Jeanine Coleman, Director of Human Resources at Pelco Structural.
Good morning. Thank you for joining us this morning, and welcome to Career Expo Week. I've provided for you here my contact information. If you'd like to get in contact with me regarding anything that we present today, I'd be happy to visit with you. What we do, we are a steel power pole, utility, and traffic control lighting and communications manufacturer. We are located in Claremore, Oklahoma. You're probably familiar with some of our traffic poles. We have traffic poles that are in Oklahoma City around the Capitol. We also placed traffic poles at the Gathering Place in Tulsa, and we also have traffic poles around the Hard Rock Casino. So I think that's some areas that, as an Oklahoma resident, you may be familiar with. We also make utility poles. Our utility poles that we make, we send those all across the United States. Our production facility sits on a 37-acre tract, and it is approximately 4 acres under a roof with both rail and port access. We gather our raw materials from the Port of Catoosa. We're located near a number of steel manufacturers in that area, and I've listed here the different types of steel that we use. We're talking today primarily about welding. All of the welders that we have are certified by the American Welding Society. I had a video, but I'm having problems with that, so I'm going to have to skip that today. We are an AISC certified facility, which means that this is the quality standard that we use to follow for the production of our poles that we make. Welding's a great career. The U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics reports that the need for welders is expected to grow by 26% by 2020. This makes welding and metal fabrication one of the fastest growing professions in America. Why a career in welding? The demand's very high. Actually, welders are needed in every town, city, country, state. While welders are available everywhere, many places are in need of more welders than are available. That certainly holds true in Oklahoma. This means that there are more job opportunities for welders, and this is one of the things that makes welding a great career choice today. It's extremely easy to get into welding. First, you don't require a formal education of any level to be a welder. Secondly, you don't even require any experience to start as a welder. Climbing the ladder. Since there's a huge demand across the world for welders, advancing in the industry is very easy. Because there is high demand, it means that there is more work, and this results into more work opportunities for anyone who is career-driven to become better and get to a higher position. It pays very well. Whether you start your own welding business or you get employed as a welder, the earnings will be impressive. An entry-level welder can earn an average of about $40,000 annually, and the pay usually continues regularly. This is approximately $18 an hour. So it's a very good wage for people that are interested in getting into welding. Here's the skills that you need to enter into a welding career. Mathematical skills. Math is very important. You need to be able to interpret sketches, read blueprints, accurately calculate dimensions. Mathematical skills are also important as you will apply them to cutting and trimming metal parts to specific, accurate dimensions. Math skills can help you stand out from your peers and increase your chances of getting a job. You'll use your math skills for calculating dimensions, reading blueprints, understanding 3D and 2D diagrams, and interpreting sketches, as well as spatial reasoning. You also have to have physical ability. You need to be in good health to be able to undertake welding tasks effectively. As a welder, you should have the strength to stoop, twist, bend, and lift to dismantle or put together large metal objects. For this instance, you cannot dismantle or put together aircraft or automobiles if you don't have great physical ability. You also need to have steady grip and hands so that you can be able to hold a torch appropriately for longer periods. Other physical abilities that are equally important are close vision, lifting sizable weight, normally around 50 pounds is what the welders at our facility are required to lift, physical endurance, hand-eye coordination, depth perception, working effectively in adverse conditions, meaning it can be hot or it can be cold, manual dexterity, and steady hands. Attention to detail is also very important. Being able to pay close attention to details is an important job skill for welders. You will be required to clean corrosion or grease from metal parts. You will also need to chip out bubbles, cracks, and holes before welding the piece of metal. Welders are needed to perform tasks that require very minimal flaws. To be able to perform all these tasks, you need to be able to pay close attention to details. Attention to details help welders to identify joints, follow directions, adhere to safety standards, detect changes taking place in the molten metal flows, cut metal objects with precision according to dimensions, trim medical objects accurately, maintain your work areas, inspect materials and metal parts, as well as administrative skills. There's always paperwork involved. Now I'm going to take a few minutes. I have Keith Bucktrot here with me. He's a welding supervisor at Pelco Structural, and I thought I would just go through some questions with him that will help you learn more about a career in welding. Good morning, Keith.
Good morning.
What made you pursue a career in welding?
I chose to pursue a career in welding. I was entered into school. I was enrolled at Rogers State University here in Claremore, Oklahoma. I was wanting to pursue a career in criminal justice, but because of not receiving a lot of payment or any payment at all in school at the time, I needed to provide for my daughter that was being born. So I was expecting my daughter in June of 2007, and so I decided to look into other options to make better money, and welding was one of those options.
Okay, great. How did you learn how to weld?
I entered into welding classes in Northeast Technology in Pryor, Oklahoma, where I was able to be taught how to pass weld tests and be very proficient in welding. I received a welding certification from Northeast Technology. I took this to multiple weld shops and applied for jobs. Within a few days, I was contacted with employment. After working with some experienced welders, I started to gain extensive knowledge about welding and metal fabrication. For the most part, on-the-job training was the most helpful in my experience. Learning the ins and outs of welding symbols, welding specifications, and materials was a must in order to excel in welding.
Okay, great. What was the hardest part about learning how to weld for you?
I believe the hardest part for me to learning the process of welding was a lot of the quality specifications, the standard working procedures for each company vary, tolerances, dimensions, reading blueprints. A lot of that came on the job. Learning and talking with other welders was experience greater than mine at the time.
Okay, great. Can you share with everyone what a day looks like for a welder, a work day looks like?
Lots of coffee. I started off, we usually start our day with a good plan. We will plan ahead as far as what we need and expect from each worker. We usually set that individual up with everything that they need to complete their job for the day. Usually a welder will get the job in front of them. They'll log into their work, so we're aware of what they're on, what they're doing job-wise. We usually get all the materials we need as far as welding wire, any tools that we will need throughout the day. We usually get ourselves set up for the day so we can continue work throughout the day with no interruptions. We start our welding process. When a welder will get done with their job at hand, they will usually call for an inspector to inspect their pole, or to inspect their work, I should say. They will get it inspected by an inspector. They will determine if they need to add more weld, to do certain things as far as to complete that job. They will take care of that, and they will move on to the next job.
Okay, great. And since you've been with Pelco, you've been promoted to a team leader. Can you share with us what you feel that you've done to advance your career in welding?
What I've done to advance my career in welding would have to be gaining more knowledge of the job at hand, so I can better help each individual that would ask for the help that's needed for them to complete their job. And that's for me to study welding procedures, metal fabrication, being able to do the job myself that I'm asking that employee to do. Basically gaining all the knowledge that I can possess that's presented to us here in our standard working operations, basically to know the ins and outs of everything that I know. That way I can relay that information with confidence to that worker.
Okay, great. What's the most satisfying thing about your career choice?
Man, the most satisfying thing that I can think of is learning a trade, being able to work with my hands, and I think of welding as an art, so that I can form metal to look a certain way and to provide my community and surrounding communities with quality work. I take pride in how I do my job as far as the quality that I put out, and I ask that of my employees that are on the floor. I make sure that they know the specifications that I make sure that they know everything that they are asking me to provide for them. So being able to relay information and to see another employee learn, like I was at one point, is very satisfying. And that's it.
Okay, great. Any suggestions that you could give to someone who's considering a career in welding?
Any suggestions that I can give to someone would be to listen a lot, and to take advantage of any information that anybody gives you, not to look at it as someone thinks they know more than you, more than it's learning experience for yourself as an employee to gain the most knowledge you can gain for whatever you're doing. If you're welding, if you're fitting, whatever process that employee is trying to learn, I feel that they need to be open to all kinds of criticism, because welding at times can be difficult. and it can be a block sometimes for most employees to think that they don't have the confidence to do a good job. And for me, to give somebody an opportunity to succeed, whether it's information or just to see that their product that they're putting out is quality work and let them know that they're doing quality work, that they can feel a sense of pride in completing the job that they're doing. And like I said earlier, with being that it's an art form, I feel like that other employees will take pride in their job as much as I do, and so I like to try to lead by example in that aspect. Hopefully that those employees will pick up on those qualities that I possess, and it continues to have a reoccurring, it gets contagious throughout the shop to where the quality standard is at a high level.
Great. Thank you. Anything else you want to add?
I would suggest for anybody that's trying to enter the weld metal fabrication field and unsure, I would say that this is probably one of the most rewarding, satisfying jobs. As you mentioned earlier, the pay is very good, and it only gets better with the more experience you possess. We have young welders out in the shop floor now that are determined and driven. Those employees will go a long way and have a great career in welding, and they'll be able to have a pretty good paycheck after the end of the day. And it broadens your qualifications going forward, whether it's with us or to pursue another job. There's multiple welding processes as far as MIG welding, stick welding, TIG welding, and each level of those processes pays a different pay scale. And a lot of times having a lot of those under your belt will allow you to gain more money, and I think that's everyone's purpose, is to have a career, a good career, and one that pays good. So I would definitely suggest someone to be a welder in the future as a career.
Great. Thank you, Keith.
You're welcome.
Okay. In addition to the welding careers that we have at Pelco Structural, there's also other jobs in manufacturing. We have plasma cutting and burning. We also have CNC equipment here. We have a sub-arc operator. We have one of the biggest press brake operators in the state. It's 52 foot long. It has two 26-foot, 700-ton press brakes in tandem for a total of 1,400-ton capacity. And that's what we use to bend our poles to make them 8-sided. We also have positions for CDL drivers, shipping and receiving employees, as well as material handlers and forklift operators. We hope that you'll consider a career in manufacturing. There are many opportunities to learn and a variety of skills. And thank you for your time.
Thank you both, Janine and Keith, for just sharing with us what it looks like a day in the life of a welder in manufacturing. I want to open it up. Are there any questions for our speaker today? And you're welcome to use the chat box, or you can just use your microphone. Okay, looks like there are no questions. Again, thank you for attending this session for Oklahoma Career Exposure Week, and it will be recorded and housed on our website. Have a wonderful day, everyone.
Thank you.